Hold on to your pumpkin spice lattes, everyone. Just when you thought late September was all about mild afternoons and the gentle transition from summer to fall, a dramatic weather pattern is set to rewrite the script. We are tracking a significant and frankly unprecedented cold wave, poised to sweep across the eastern two-thirds of the United States and into southern Canada. This isn't your typical gentle arrival of autumn air. Instead, think of it as a sudden blast of late October or even early November weather, arriving weeks ahead of schedule. It's a pattern so strong and so out of place that it's commanding the full attention of meteorologists everywhere. This impending chill is more than just a minor dip in the mercury, it's a full-scale atmospheric event that will have millions reaching for jackets and blankets much sooner than anticipated. The sheer scale of this cold air intrusion is what makes it so remarkable for this time of year. Typically, September holds on to a good deal of summer's warmth, with cold fronts bringing only modest, temporary relief. This event, however, is a different beast entirely. It promises a prolonged period of genuinely cold temperatures that will feel like a shock to the system, especially after what has been a relatively warm start to the fall season for many. So, what does this mean for you? It means that your plans for late September outdoor activities, from apple picking to fall festivals, will need a serious reconsideration. That light sweater you thought would be enough will likely need to be replaced by a heavier coat. The abruptness of this change is the key story here. We're talking about a potential temperature drop of 10, 20, or even 25 degrees below what we would normally expect for the final week of September. It's a wake-up call from Mother Nature, reminding us that winter's chill is never too far away, even when the calendar still points to autumn. The ripple effects of this cold wave will be felt far and wide, touching everything from our morning commute to our home heating bills. This is the kind of weather pattern that doesn't just pass by quietly, it makes its presence known. It will challenge farmers with late-season crops, force homeowners to check on their furnaces earlier than ever, and fundamentally alter the feel of the season. As we prepare for this dramatic shift, it's important to understand not just what is coming but why it's happening. The atmosphere is a complex system, and this event is a perfect example of how distant global patterns can have a very direct and chilly impact right in our own backyards. So what is the engine driving this extraordinary September cold? The primary cause is a major shift in the jet stream, that high-altitude river of air that steers weather systems across North America. For much of the early fall, a large, stable area of high pressure, often called a blocking high, has been parked over parts of the continent, keeping temperatures mild and deflecting any significant cold air. Think of this high pressure as a giant atmospheric wall, protecting us from the colder air that builds up in the Arctic. However, that wall is about to crumble, and when it does, it will open the floodgates for a massive surge of polar air to pour southward. This breakdown of the prevailing weather pattern is a classic setup for a significant cold air outbreak. A deep trough of low pressure is forecast to dig down from Canada, effectively acting like a plow that shoves the frigid air deep into the United States. This isn't just a small dip in the jet stream, it's a profound buckling wave that will allow air with origins near the Arctic Circle to travel uninterrupted all the way down into the central and eastern states. The intensity and southern extent of this trough are what make this event so unusual for September, a month when such powerful systems are far more rare. The air mass itself is a key part of the story. This isn't just slightly cooler air, it's a genuinely cold, dense air mass that has been building over the vast, sun-starved landscapes of northern Canada. As this pool of cold air gets dislodged and funneled southward by the jet stream, it will retain much of its original character. It will bring not only colder temperatures but also a crisp, dry feel to the air that is more characteristic of mid-autumn. The lack of significant modification as it travels south means that regions from the Great Lakes to the Deep South will feel its unadulterated chill. It's important to remember that weather happens in patterns of action and reaction. The breakdown of the blocking high pressure doesn't happen in a vacuum. It is influenced by larger, planetary-scale waves in the atmosphere. The developing global pattern is becoming more favorable for these deep troughs to form over North America. This specific event is a powerful, early-season manifestation of that shift. While the overall autumn season may still average out to be warmer than normal, this cold wave serves as a potent reminder of the variability and extremes that can occur during a seasonal transition period. To fully understand why this powerful cold front is happening now, we need to look thousands of miles away to the tropical Pacific Ocean. A key player influencing our weather this season is the development of a weak La Niña. La Niña is a climate pattern characterized by cooler-than-average sea surface temperatures in the central and eastern Pacific Ocean near the equator. You might think that what happens in the distant Pacific doesn't matter here, but it has a profound domino effect on weather patterns across the globe, including right here in North America. This developing La Niña is a critical piece of the puzzle. Interestingly, La Niña autumns are often associated with warmer-than-average temperatures across much of the United States. So how can it be responsible for such an intense cold snap? The answer lies in the way La Niña alters the position and strength of the jet stream. It tends to create a more volatile, wavy jet stream pattern over North America. This volatility means that while the average temperature for the season might be warm, the pattern is also primed for sharp, dramatic reversals. This impending cold wave is one such reversal, a temporary but very powerful swing in the opposite direction, enabled by the very atmospheric instability that La Niña helps create. Think of the La Niña-influenced jet stream as a bucking bronco. It might spend a lot of time surging north, bringing warm air with it, but it's also capable of taking sudden, deep plunges to the south. This event is a perfect example of one of those deep plunges. The developing La Niña provides the background conditions that make such a sharp dip in the jet stream more likely. It sets the stage for the kind of atmospheric blocking pattern breakdown we are about to see, allowing that massive reservoir of Canadian cold to spill southward without resistance. It's a classic case of a large-scale climate pattern enabling a short-term extreme weather event. So while it may seem counterintuitive, this late September freeze is very much in line with what we can expect in a developing La Niña world. It highlights the difference between climate, the long-term average, and weather, the day-to-day experience. The climate signal for this fall may point towards warmth, but the weather reality will include this significant period of intense cold. This event serves as an early sign of La Niña's influence, and it gives us a preview of the kind of volatile, high-amplitude weather patterns that could become more common as we head into the winter months. Let's get down to the specifics because the numbers behind this forecast are truly impressive for September. Across a vast swath of the country, temperatures are expected to plummet 10 to 20 degrees Fahrenheit below the seasonal average. In some of the hardest-hit areas, that departure from normal could reach a staggering 25 degrees. This isn't a gradual cooling, it's a sharp, definitive drop that will leave no doubt that a new air mass has taken control. We're talking about temperatures that belong in late October or early November, making a surprise appearance before September has even concluded. For the Midwest and Great Lakes regions, which will be at the epicenter of this cold blast, the numbers are particularly stark. Overnight low temperatures are forecast to fall into the mid-40s, with some areas, especially in the upper Midwest, potentially dipping even lower. These temperatures are cold enough to bring the threat of the first frost of the season to some rural and suburban locations. Daytime highs will struggle, likely staying in the 50s for several days. This will be a raw, damp-feeling cold, a true taste of the late autumn chill that normally holds off for another month or more. Moving eastward, the Northeast will also feel a significant chill, though slightly less intense than the Midwest. Lows in cities from Boston to New York to Philadelphia are expected to drop into the low to mid-50s. While that might not sound frigid, it represents a substantial drop from the mild nights typical of early fall. Daytime temperatures will feel crisp and autumnal, likely topping out only in the low 60s. The change will be dramatic enough to have people turning on their heat for the first time this season and swapping out their light jackets for something much warmer. Even the South will not be immune to this powerful cold front. While the effects will be less extreme, the chill will be unmistakable. The cold air will surge deep into Dixie, pushing temperatures well below normal. Cities across the Tennessee Valley and even parts of the Deep South will experience overnight lows dropping into the 50s, a remarkable feat for September in this part of the country. This will bring a refreshing, but surprisingly sharp, end to the lingering summer humidity and heat, serving as a clear signal that the seasons are indeed changing, and doing so in a very abrupt fashion. For everyone in the Midwest and the Great Lakes region from Chicago to Detroit to Minneapolis, this cold wave will feel like hitting a meteorological brick wall. You are in the direct path of the coldest air, and the change will be both swift and severe. One day you might be enjoying a pleasant sunny afternoon in the 70s, and the next you will wake up to a world that feels like it skipped a month ahead on the calendar. The air will have a distinct bite, the kind that makes your nose run and your breath visible in the early morning hours. This is the core of the cold air outbreak, and its impact here will be profound. The most significant threat in this region will be the potential for the first frost of the season. Low temperatures plunging into the mid-40s in urban centers mean that surrounding rural and suburban areas could easily dip toward the mid-30s. Any gardeners with tender plants like tomatoes or peppers will need to be on high alert, ready to cover their crops or bring them indoors. This early frost could have a significant impact on the end of the growing season, catching many by surprise. It's a stark reminder that in the Midwest, the transition from growing season to frost season can happen in the blink of an eye. Daily life will require a significant adjustment. The morning dog walk will transform from a pleasant stroll to a brisk, bundled-up affair. You'll find yourself scraping a thin layer of frost or dew off your car windshield for the first time since last spring. The persistent chill will mean that even during the day, with highs struggling to escape the 50s, you'll need more than just a sweatshirt. A warm jacket, perhaps even with a hat and gloves for the early morning and evening, will become essential. This is not just a cool spell, it's a period of sustained, raw cold. This region will also see the earliest and most significant spike in heating demand. Furnaces that have been dormant for months will be kicking on across millions of homes. This early call to action for our heating systems is a good reminder to make sure they are in working order. The sudden demand could put a strain on utility grids and will certainly be reflected in the next month's energy bills. For the people of the Midwest and Great Lakes, this event is more than just a forecast. It's a full-blown dress rehearsal for the winter to come, arriving well ahead of its cue. While the Midwest bears the brunt, the cold air's influence will stretch far and wide, bringing a distinct taste of autumn to the Northeast. From the mountains of New England down to the mid-Atlantic coast, the change will be palpable. The humid, late summer air will be scoured away, replaced by a crisp, cool, and much drier air mass. Low temperatures dipping into the low 50s will make for chilly nights and brisk mornings. Cities like Boston and New York will transform overnight, feeling decidedly autumnal. People will be digging out their favorite fall sweaters and jackets, and the season of outdoor dining will come to an abrupt end for many. This early chill will accelerate the feeling of seasonal change throughout the Northeast. While it may not bring widespread frost like in the Midwest, it will certainly stress sensitive vegetation and could speed up the changing of the leaves in some areas, especially at higher elevations in Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine. The clear, cool nights and sunny, crisp days that follow the initial front will be picture-perfect for fall foliage viewing, perhaps even enhancing the vibrancy of the colors. However, the accompanying cold will be a constant reminder that this beauty comes with a bite. Further south, the cold front will perform a remarkable feat, pushing deep into regions that are typically still sweltering in late September. Areas across the Tennessee Valley, the Carolinas, and even into Georgia and Alabama will experience a dramatic cool-down. The oppressive humidity will vanish, replaced by refreshingly dry air. While daytime highs might still be pleasant, the overnight lows dropping into the 50s will be a shock to the system. It will be the kind of weather that has people opening their windows at night to enjoy the cool air, but then quickly reaching for an extra blanket before morning. For the South, this event is less about a harsh cold, and more about a definitive end to summer. The lingering heat that can often persist well into October will be decisively broken. This will be a welcome relief for many, but it also signals a shift in seasonal activities. Plans for a late-season day at the lake or pool will likely be canceled. Instead, thoughts will turn to fall festivals, bonfires, and other classic autumn pastimes. The arrival of this Canadian air mass so far south is a testament to the power of this weather system and its ability to reshape the atmospheric landscape across the entire eastern half of the continent. When this cold wave arrives, it will change more than just the number on the thermometer. It will alter the entire sensory experience of daily life. The first thing you'll notice is the air itself. It will feel different, thinner, drier, and crisper. The familiar heavy humidity of late summer will be gone, replaced by an invigorating chill that you feel deep in your lungs with every breath. In the morning, you'll see your breath cloud in front of you for the first time in months. The world will sound different too, as the dense, damp air that muffles sound is replaced by a crispness that makes distant noises seem clearer and closer. Your daily routines will need immediate adjustment. That habit of stepping outside in a t-shirt to grab the newspaper or let the dog out will be met with a rude, shivery awakening. Commutes will feel different as you wait for the car's heater to kick in, your hands cold on the steering wheel. At home, the cool air will seep in, making tile and hardwood floors feel icy underfoot. You'll find yourself reaching for fuzzy socks and a warm robe in the morning. The simple act of getting out of a warm bed will become a significant challenge, a small daily battle against the encroaching cold. The cold will also change our social and recreational habits. Outdoor patios at cafes and restaurants will empty out. Evening walks will become shorter and more brisk. Plans for late-season barbecues or picnics will be shelved in favor of indoor gatherings. The focus will shift from outdoor activities to cozier indoor pursuits. It's the kind of weather that encourages you to bake, to read a book under a warm blanket, or to gather with family for a movie night. It forces a change of pace, a turning inward that is characteristic of the transition to the colder half of the year. Psychologically, the sudden arrival of this cold can be jarring. It serves as an abrupt and undeniable signal that the carefree days of summer are officially over. For some, this is a welcome change, heralding a favorite season of cozy sweaters and holidays. For others, it can feel like a somber reminder of the long, cold winter that lies ahead. Regardless of your perspective, the visceral experience of this unseasonable cold, the feel of it on your skin, the sight of your breath, the need for extra layers, will be a shared phenomenon for millions, a collective shiver that marks a dramatic turning point in the year. With this abrupt temperature drop on the horizon, now is the perfect time to make a few simple preparations. You don't need to panic, but a little foresight will make the transition much more comfortable. Let's start with your wardrobe. It's time to perform the seasonal closet swap. Push those shorts, t-shirts, and sandals to the back, and bring your autumn and winter clothing to the front. Locate your sweaters, fleece jackets, long-sleeve shirts, and warmer pants. Most importantly, don't forget about the accessories. Find your hats, scarves, and gloves. You will likely need them for those chilly mornings and evenings. Layering will be your best strategy. Next, turn your attention to your home. This cold snap will be the first real test for your heating system this season. Don't wait for the coldest night to discover a problem. If you haven't already, turn on your furnace or heating system now for a test run. Let it run for 15 to 20 minutes to make sure it ignites properly and blows warm air. This also helps burn off any dust that has accumulated over the summer, which can create a slight burning smell on first use. If you have a fireplace, ensure the flue is clean and operating correctly. A quick check now can save you from a cold and frustrating situation later. This is also a great opportunity to do a quick check for drafts around your home. Walk around and feel for cold air coming in around windows and doors. Simple fixes like applying new weather stripping or using a draft stopper at the bottom of a door can make a significant difference in keeping your home warm and your energy bills down. Check your windows to ensure they are fully closed and locked, which creates a tighter seal. Also, remember to reverse the direction of your ceiling fans. In the summer, they should run counterclockwise to push cool air down. In the fall and winter, running them clockwise on a low speed will help push warm air that has risen back down into the room. Finally, think about those cozy comforts. Pull out your heavier blankets and comforters for the beds. If you have flannel sheets, now is the perfect time to put them on. Having warm throws and blankets readily available in your living room can make evenings much more comfortable without having to crank up the thermostat. Preparing for a cold snap is as much about comfort as it is about practicality. Taking these small steps will ensure that when the temperatures plunge, you can relax and stay warm and cozy indoors, fully prepared for this early taste of winter. A key question on everyone's mind is, how long will this unseasonable chill last? Current forecast models indicate that this will not be a fleeting one-day event. We expect this cold air mass to settle in and dominate the weather pattern across the eastern two-thirds of the country for several days, likely lasting through the final week of September and potentially lingering into the very start of October. The core of the most intense cold, with temperatures 15 to 25 degrees below normal, will likely persist for about 3 to 5 days before temperatures begin to slowly moderate back towards seasonal averages. It's a significant sustained period of cold. The pattern that allows this cold outbreak is quite stable, which is why it's expected to stick around. The deep trough in the jet stream will be slow to lift out, continuing to funnel chilly Canadian air southward. Even as the most extreme cold begins to ease, temperatures are likely to remain cooler than normal for some time. We shouldn't expect a quick return to the warm, summer-like conditions that preceded this event. Instead, this cold wave will effectively reset the seasonal thermostat, leaving us in a much more autumnal pattern for the foreseeable future. It's truly a season-altering weather event. Naturally, an event this strong and this early raises the big question: does this mean we are in for a colder than normal winter? While this cold snap is not a direct prediction for the entire winter, it is a very strong clue. The fact that the atmosphere is capable of producing such a powerful cold outbreak in September, combined with the influence of a developing La Niña, certainly points towards a tendency for a colder and snowier winter ahead for much of the United States and southern Canada. La Niña winters often feature this type of volatile jet stream pattern, which is conducive to repeated Arctic blasts. Think of this September cold wave as an early signal or a winter whisper. It's the atmosphere showing its hand, revealing the type of pattern it's capable of producing this year. While there will surely be milder periods between now and the heart of winter, this event sets a chilly precedent. It tells us that the ingredients for significant cold are in place and that the large-scale drivers like La Niña are steering us in a colder direction. So, as you bundle up for this surprisingly chilly end to September, it's wise to keep those coats handy. This could be just the first of many visits from the polar air this season.